Standing for conservative values can cost you a lot these days. We got to talk about the challenges for conservatives as we go forward into a post-Donald Trump world. And Lee Edwards joins me now. Dr. Edwards is a historian, author, and distinguished fellow of conservative thought at Heritage. Dr. Edwards, thanks for taking the time tonight.
Great, Lars, to be with you again.
So where are we headed now? Because later on tonight, I'm going to talk to Mike Lindell, who's the guy behind my pillow. I've done ads for the company in the past. I don't currently, but they're going after him. They want to shut him down. Why? Because he's a conservative who speaks his mind. Is that the kind of world we're going into? Because I feel like, and I know you know who Martin Niemöller was, I feel like we're going into the Martin Niemöller world, where if you don't speak up for people, by the time they come for you, there won't be anybody left to speak up.
Well, I think that's exactly it. We have to speak out, and we have more going for us than we realize. When you take a look at how many people just voted, for example, for Mr. Trump, more millions than had ever voted for any other presidential candidate until you take into account Mr. Biden. And if they had not fixed things a certain way and had those mail-in ballots, probably we still would have Donald Trump. Would have won the election or come close anyway. Yep. But there are so many things that we can do, Lars, by standing up for things that we believe in, and that is we're going to insist upon not taxing people unfairly. We're going to insist that the borders do be protected. We're going to insist that the government not regulate us until we absolutely go bonkers. So there are many, many things that we can stand up for. And I think now is no time to retreat or take the Benedict option and retreat to some, not mountaintop with our canned beans and our dried milk and all the rest of it.
Well, the concern I've got, though, Mr. Edwards, is this. We're telling people if you stand up and speak out, you may find your career at risk. You may find your job gone. You may find the folks who supply you with things have cut you off from those things. You may find your voice on social media silenced because the left has now decided that another point of view is simply not allowed, and they will do what they can to shut it down, and they have the tools in many cases.
Well, two things. I think, number one, that there are legal aid organizations who will take on a case like that, take it to court, and stand up and make sure that that person's rights are not being violated. And there are such organizations, there are such legal aid societies. Secondly, I think we have to take a look at history. And I'm reminded of going back to my favorite president, Ronald Reagan, who in 1976, after he lost narrowly trying to get the presidential nomination from Jerry Ford, confronted his campaign staff, and they were crying, they were weeping. And he said, yes, we lost, but the cause goes on. And then he quoted this wonderful old Scottish ballad, I'll lay me down and bleed a while, though I am wounded, I am not slain. I shall rise and fight again. And so I think we just have to really keep on fighting. We cannot give up. We cannot surrender. We cannot allow them to silence us. And that means some people are going to be hurt. Some people are going to be perhaps denied certain rights for a while. But I still really believe in the Constitution. I think that's one thing that perhaps we can get people to agree on, even in this divided town, this wounded town of Washington, D.C., work with and through and the preservation of the Constitution.
Is it too much to expect, though, that some of the people from the political left, including especially those people with titles in front of their names, senator, representative, governor, state senator, those people might actually stand up and defend the rights of the people on the other side, saying, I don't agree with you, but like Voltaire is alleged to have said, I know there's some controversy there and you're a historian, so I have to be careful. Voltaire is said to have said, I disagree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. I don't hear a lot on the left saying that, although those of us on the right do say that on a regular basis. I defend the free speech of people who want to, tout ridiculous liberal ideas. I call them ridiculous, but I say, come on the show. Tell me all about why taxes will lead us to prosperity, or why it's a great idea to give up the energy abundance of America in favor of windmills and solar panels we can buy from China. Go ahead. But I don't hear that from the left at all. They don't say these people have a right to disagree with you. They say shut them down. And in fact, did you hear anybody from the left objecting to what Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey and Jeff Bezos did to Parler about a week or 10 days ago?
No, I didn't, and that is disturbing, and that speaks to the fact that, Lars, that we are divided today more than I think I've ever experienced in my life, and that's concerning to me. But at the same time, I know that there are people out there, maybe they don't say it publicly yet, but I think things can come to a point where people are going to say, I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore, borrowing from that wonderful
from that great line from
film.
Network.
Right, indeed. And I believe that they're there. I don't think that they have been so totally depressed and suppressed that they will not speak out. But we have to encourage them. We have to keep asking them. And you, among others, I think that's great that you're inviting them. Keep on inviting them. Someday, one day, one of them is going to say, okay, I'll come on your program, maybe with some fear and trembling, but they'll come on your program.
Well, I have to tell you, Dr. Edwards, I'm talking to Dr. Lee Edwards from Heritage. I'm almost to 25 years of saying naysayers go first. And my first producer a long time ago, a young lady, she said, what do you mean? I said, when somebody calls and they disagree with me, she said, we screen them out. And I said, no, you put them first. And she said, what, are you crazy? I said, no, I have the courage of my convictions. I think my argument is stronger, but let's see if theirs is stronger. And if the audience decides at the end of the conversation, Lars is full of beans and Lee is completely right, Lee Edwards won that argument, that's up to them, not up to me. I don't tell conservatives how to think. I tell them how I think and why I think that way. But if my arguments are not sufficient to stand up to a good naysayer, then I ought to go back and rethink them, shouldn't I?
Well, I think that's why you have the audience that you have, Lars, because you do give the other side a chance. And I have to say that I have the opportunity at Heritage. We work with young people all the time, and there are 125 interns who are starting up this past week with us. And you cannot be with these young men and women from all over the country and indeed from countries overseas and not feel that, well, there is a future. There is a rising generation that understands and believes in freedom and liberty and the Constitution. Maybe that's what keeps me going. It keeps me thinking that. But I'm a Reagan optimist, Lars. I really am.
I'm a happy warrior, too. I kind of model
Exactly.
myself after Speaker Gingrich. I just get up every day, and I don't care how hard they knock me down. I'm going to get up and fight another day. That's Dr. Lee Edwards, a historian at the Heritage Foundation. Dr. Edwards, it's always a pleasure.